So, as I said, this is a traditional panel. Usually the panel is meant to not so much include technical discussions, which we already had a lot of and can still have even after this session, but also to take the opportunity to discuss a bit about the event as such, about the community, and about the modalities for having this in the future, and how to continue, how to go on. I think maybe, shall we?
I've got one particular part
of
organizational specific question.
Yeah, please do.
One of the things that we tried for the first time with this conference was the lightning talks. I was happy with it. I kind of was encouraging doing that in the past. I think we need a coffee break afterwards. It was just a little bit of a jump from that lightning talk right into the next talk. But with that one caveat aside, is there anything else that was good or bad or should be done differently if we do it again, or should we be doing it again? Question to everybody.
Yeah, we should do it.
Yeah, lightning talk is really good. It's really good.
Actually, in those 5 minutes, there's a lot of information.
Actually, what I was thinking when I saw the lightning talks is that maybe some of the people who gave lightning talks should have given longer talks, or could have given longer talks, and we should have shortened some of the other talks. I mean, 45 minutes is not super long. We had a lot of overtime talks as well again, but I think many things can be said in half an hour, and we could instead give more people the chance to speak.
Then I've toyed with this idea at other conferences. Early on the first day, as many people as want, get up there and do a 5-minute lightning talk. And the room or the wiki somehow votes, and we've allocated 5 slots of 20 minutes for you to expand on your topic on day 2, and you've got 1 evening to prepare your material.
Do you think that will work? I mean,
I think it's worth trying.
Yeah, we can.
you can try.
What do you worry about it not working?
Now, because typically people, the lightning talk is just a really nice way to do it informally. And if you have a talk, I don't think that many people just say spontaneously, okay, I will prepare a longer talk. Because it takes some effort to create a presentation.
Yes, 5 minutes is probably good enough.
For the lightning specifically, but some way of saying, like, we really want more information on these 3 or 5 topics and reserving the space for them for a larger forum. Or maybe just encouraging, you've got a free pass for next time because you were one of the 3 best lightning talks last time. We want you to come out and talk about it.
I think Benedict is right, because you cannot expect everybody to prepare 30 minutes for
On 24 hours notice.
Yeah.
Okay, but maybe it would be more like a discussion you could have. I mean, those lightning talks are not good for any discussion, but okay, if you say, okay, and tomorrow 20 minutes for discussion, that might be further.
But maybe a related question. As usual, we were struggling a bit to get talks beforehand. So until a month before the event, usually there are only some talks where people have volunteered to speak. And then here you have all these ideas and hardly enough time to cover them. What can we do to make people sign up for talks early on? Because I think it's beneficial. All of the projects we are doing are either commercially motivated or have a community, and it's always good to spread the word about them. I think everybody can benefit from giving a talk. From the additional outreach that you get by the videos we post later on, but also from the feedback you get from the community, I hope. So it should be a good thing to do.
So I just say, if Yaron hadn't asked me, I have not put myself on here. I don't know whether people like it or not, but I want to say by just inviting, it helps.
Yes, it should be what people say when you go to the panel.
Inviting? Oh, yeah. You know, I'll ask you again if that's what it takes.
I'm not sure. Have you said that a talk must be 30 minutes? Because I think 5 minutes is too short, but 50 minutes, if we have typical talk having 50 minutes, maybe more people are encouraged to do a talk because it doesn't need as much preparation and
Yeah. Okay.
What are your feelings on, you propose a topic and the committee approves either a 5, 15, or 30-minute time slot for your topic?
and would well.
You could just first say yourself, I like to do a quarter of an hour, I think this is a half an hour thing.
Yeah, maybe just 2 hours of lightning talks would solve part of the problem. I mean, you know.
2 hours.
Okay.
Well, that's-
Yeah, 1 hour each day or something like that. I mean, that way each one could be 10 minutes.
Well, I would suggest lightning talk should be restricted to 5 minutes, because that keeps the speed fast, really moving fast, right? Yeah, like lightning talk.
The one thing I think is we should define beforehand how long expected lightning talks
Yes.
would be. Not, no, let's say, okay, we have 10 talks in 1 hour, that means 6 minutes.
Right. When preparing your slides, you want to know if you've got 5 minutes or 10. It makes a huge difference.
Yeah, and we could have really more talks and a shorter, time, shorter length, right? Because if you limit the main talk to be 30 minutes max, then have like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, then we can probably have more talks, in the conference.
Is there anything anyone's had at other conferences you think we should be doing as well? Other outside ideas or patterns?
Another question, something we did first time in Europe, was to have a tutorial day with the explicit aim to have more lecture-like or some also hands-on style presentations which are not cutting edge on a project but really explain some base technology. Any feedback on that? Did it go well? Shall we check the top?
He said you're...
Yeah, it's the first time in Europe. It's the second time we did it, but the audience is quite different in Europe and the US, so I'm asking you here, and feedback is very welcome there. So, yeah, was good? More,
Yeah.
I mean, you can also suggest topics for this kind of thing. Maybe we want to have it a bit more like a call in the future to have people suggest what they would like to hear about or what they would like to talk about.
Sounds good.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, but we will keep it there.
Having not really done one, I feel a little bad criticizing, but I thought that some of the tutorials still felt a little underprepared. Technical problems, the possibility of too many editors all picking the term manager at the same time and having collisions. I think setting up one little Amazon disposable instance, we have 20 different independent wikis ready to go, and everybody really has their own space, would really help to avoid something that ate too much time, in my opinion. We had technical failures that shouldn't have had to happen.
I would definitely say if you want to do a talk, you have to put time into consolidating your resources on a single place, and if it's not there by the time the day rolls around.
So technical wise, I agree, but we are in the wiki world, so we should not force everyone to have its own server. I would disagree there. And the power of SMW comes from multiple people adding data and having one query collecting it all together. I would disagree there.
At least
For learning, it's such a, you say manager, I say manager capital M, you say lower M. You say job, I say office or something.
Okay, this must be avoided, I agree.
Those conflicts I want to avoid, but agreed. Community is part of what makes a wiki work, so.
I did not understand what you said about manager, and what do you mean by that?
We had a portion where it was okay, everybody go create one class of your own, on your own topic. You pick restaurants, you pick rock stars, you pick, and there was just such an opportunity for semantic conflicts over, well, I picked these 4 fields for my class.
You're right.
One of those terms is the same as yours. I think we had it specifically on a start date or end date kind of field.
I understand.
But I think these are totally separate things. How to do a tutorial and how to prepare for it. I mean, this was just coincidence. I don't think it's about being bad prepared. It's just, I don't know, it's a good way. As Michael says, it could show something very useful. But of course, technical problems is always something which you could maybe think about in advance. So I just want to say that you can still prepare it better and do it the same way.
Something we might also want to do in the future is to have a call for tutorials and to open it up to anybody who wants to participate and maybe couple it a bit with a benefit like a reduced registration rate or something like that, as other conferences sometimes do. Because it is a lot of work to prepare that, and if you have a 90 minutes talk, it's certainly a different thing than just preparing some demo for the main conference. And the benefit is not so clear for yourself obviously, because you're not presenting the core of your new work or something. You just teach people, which is very important. But maybe we need to have some more incentives also to. I mean, you can think about what would you need to give a tutorial next time we are in Europe, and maybe give some feedback on that.
I'm noticing we had a lot of talks that related to applications being built on top, and having a track or a time slot where we do as many of those back to back, versus sprinkling them all throughout. Is there a preference in the community for spread it around or consolidate?
Consolidate is better.
Anybody feel differently? Okay, consolidate wins that one.
I actually, well, I helped to put the schedule together, and I thought it would be nice to, alternate, go back and forth between stuff. Yeah.
Oh, we're all still learning this one. Good.
I think, well, in one way, it's more interesting, and you don't get bored of the same topic all the time. And I guess if you consolidate, also it might be more. Some people are showing up one day and maybe not the other one. So
If we get to a certain scale, we can have tracks, and there's more of an application biz dev day and more of a developer core day or something. We're not quite there for scale yet, I don't think.
And these sessions could have topics that would be doable.
And once you get to tracks, the whole organization changes.
Yeah. Tracks is, I mean, actually, from my experience, I have seen events with a lot more talks, and even 2 times or 3 times as many people attending, which still were running single track on purpose. And I think we should try to keep it such like that as long as we can. Even on the tutorial day, it was hard to get the things together to have time for this conference, because even the tutorials were so interesting.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I totally agree.
Did the developer room get any or much use? I was here the whole time.
I had great use.
We have to have some discussions, I mean, especially in the very beginning when the introductory tutorial was. Yeah. But then not so much. No.
More and more people started to be here instead of that.
Which is fine, I mean, some.
But you could have just done it outside as well.
Yeah, it's true, I mean, we did. Okay. Minor other things, we will also, now that we have the organization and we are gathering experience how to organize these things, I guess we will also in the future have a more clear-cut responsibility of program organization in particular. It still is a bit done between us, and it's certainly a better approach in the future to have somebody who is in charge of the program, not to put it on top of the local chair's duties too much, not to put it somehow in between everybody, and rather have somebody who takes care that things are clustered into sessions. Also, I think it would be good to have some session chairs just to keep times a bit and to broker the questions, so to make it all a bit more smooth. But otherwise, I think we are doing well.
I think doing sessions requires more people in advance declaring what their topics are going to be, so we can figure out what the group the sessions are. So.
Yeah, I have a general thing about conferences. But do you have something like hackathons or something? Or could that be arranged together with the conference?
Other conferences seem to do one more day at the end as a pure hackathon, no talks, but all the developers sitting in one room just banging away.
Yeah, I would
and I think we might try and do one of those.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
It's like the opposite of tutorial day. You have tutorial day to get you up to speed. The middle days are general community, and then a couple core folks stick around for the end and really go deep and follow up while you're all in the same space, and that seems to work very well.
Yeah, like if you have like 3 days with tutorials and then talks, then you always get ideas that you want to try out and further discuss, or you find like architectural issues that you want to tackle together. So I think it's really great opportunity.
So this is a suggestion, or how it works now? Or?
Nothing like a hackathon has happened so far, right?
It's a wish.
Well,
But
the
it's not
tutorial
hard to
day
make
is
one
supposed
happen.
to sort of double as a hacking day, but in practice that doesn't happen that much.
The tutorial day.
Yeah, I mean, there's supposed to be hacking going on.
Okay,
Yeah.
well,
It's for more experienced people, they don't want to attend the basic tutorials, they can go to the developer room and just hacking.
okay, so I guess the tutorials were too interesting then.
Yeah, but in the US, where the consumers and people actually just starting actually show up, the tutorials are really important.
Yeah,
I
One
think
of the
that-
big Washington DC things we found was people didn't actually know how to use 90% of the stuff in the wiki, so the tutorials were really important too.
Yeah.
I help put a survey, and I organized that last conference in DC, and it was really interesting for me, actually kind of shocking to know, like, some people, like, think the tutorial is too difficult, And, I was surprised, but, actually, they were people actually who just, come to the conference and really knew nothing about Media Week or even spending Media Week. So I think we probably need to actually have next time have a pre-conference registration polling to see how much knowledge you already have about this or Media Week.
The entrance exam for the conference?
No, it's important. So where you should start with the tutorial.
There's just a general understanding that the European community is more academically involved in stuff versus the U.S. is actually there to learn the product and plan tutorials.
Can I get a quick show of hands on just 3 choices? The level was, would you like to see the conference be a little more basic and introductory, a little higher, or it's really in the sweet spot? So a little more introductory material, show of hands.
For which part? I mean, it's good with what variation.
Right, you want the spread, but I think the answer is already becoming clear. Nobody seems to want anything more basic, if anything. But was any of this too advanced? I mean, some people here, look, a lot of us have been to every one of these.
I would say there are certain things I would like to be more basic. Even though I think I understand some of the stuff like Jeff's chow out stuff, right? I think there's still some background knowledge you probably should have known better or should get refreshed a little bit. I remember this words, but I had to showing.
Wikipedia.
Think about those types of logics and what exactly it meant. This type of things, but or some background information about how you get a system built. Why you need to do this and things like that.
Okay, so just finishing sort of the question there. It should be a little more basic. Show of hands, 0. It should be more advanced. Show of hands. Okay, great. So you nailed it. All right.
Okay.
So you all raised in the same spot. Show of hands. That's great. So I think the last conference it's about 10% of people think it's too basic, maybe less than 10. I think there are only like 7, maybe 9 people replied out of 30 something. For that particular question, there's probably 13 or 15 people replied for other questions. I sent the surveys. So like 1 or 2 people think it's too basic, and maybe 1 or 2 people say too advanced. Most people actually did say it's just all right. But this is great.
I think if you start the tutorials on a very low level, also it's too wide a span for people to attend. If there's one day that's very basic, but the other day should stay on this level, I think. Otherwise, there's no point in having a conference. And then attracting people that have only a very basic understanding, there's not much for them to do. So I think so.
They're welcome, but we're not trying to reach out to them quite as much in your
I think we shouldn't do that. I think it's getting too much off topic then for the people that are really interested and are really coming in. Like this very basic thing would probably only be interested for people that are like in a small area around the place where it is, because then it's like the effort for them. They're not so much attached to the project, and then the effort is okay. But I probably Enterprise could run, and I've been one time to a day that they organized just for introducing people to semantic media wiki. I think actually that's probably more the place to do than this conference.
Well, if that's the idea, then I recommend removing the tutorial day completely from the U.S. because it puts off the idea that you're here to learn and this is a conference. And if we're just playing users group and we don't want to teach anybody how to use the software, then we need to get rid of. We need to explicitly say this isn't a tutorial to teach you how to do it, and everybody here has X amount of degrees in these things that we talk about. So.
I really enjoyed the conference, and I think Hank is right. But my solution for this would be another. I would prefer if the organizers of the conference mark each talk with it's more experience or it's more development. So I could decide, okay, I'm interested in user experience of other users, or I'm interested in more technology issues. And so I should perhaps would choose more the technology issues and not so experienced users would choose the more the user experience talks, and then there would be an easier way to decide which talk to hear.
Maybe the sessions we already talked about, to cluster it by topic would already help there.
Yeah.
If you have a topic database infrastructure session, then this is not interesting to somebody who's interested in user interaction. And so we could really cluster it by that. And maybe that also frees more resources for people to skip one session and talk outside if it's not their core topic. So that could also help. Yeah.
And have a kind of hackathon open or some space open where people can meet and sit when they do that.
So I think that is a great idea. Jesse said that it's maybe difficult to know in advance what kind of talks are more interesting than others. So maybe we could have a kind of survey some time before what kind of tutorials are needed. Would I like to be given a talk, some hints for the organizers, what they could expect? And then the schedule could be created, and then the participants can decide to what sessions they, whether they eventually would come.
So we need an ontology of.
I actually did that in the last conference.
Yeah, I remember.
But it still didn't work out perfectly. You know,
No?
people are still saying, this is too difficult, this is too easy. You just can't satisfy everyone.
Can't get everybody good.
Right.
But you could at least, like you said, could at least say what's the subject and what's the variable level and whether it's too difficult or not is a personal decision. Like I said, we need an ontology of talks. Probably.
Maybe it would also help to have abstracts of the talks, so that people have a bit more of an idea what the talk is going to be about.
Agreed, but getting submissions is already tough, and requiring a paragraph up front is only going to hurt.
No. Once they have agreed, we tell them that they have
I think there's at least one thing we could have done better is about the talk submission form. Actually, we don't have a form, we don't have plenty data to do that.
Make, for instance, a page per talk in the wiki so that you can put more information about the talk, and that's why we need an
We're
ontology
actually
of
using an
talks.
unstructured thing right now rather than structured.
Semi-structured.
Yeah, semi-structured. But anyway, I just remember one thing. I think, do you guys think it's really helpful for people, so this is not really being covered, but for people to introduce themselves at the beginning of the conference, before the tutorial? I think last time we did that, we only had 30-something people, so that people actually start knowing each other, what they're doing, their industry, their names, maybe they don't remember, but at least get a chance, right? So, do you think it's useful to do that? Or?
It takes a long time.
And you see it was hard because they all had like 16 title long thing.
Or I can't talk
Secretary
about
of
it.
Joint Defense Department.
Well, you would not be obliged to do it.
Well, I think they liked doing it in DC because they were all trying to out-brag each other.
Maybe that's the right one. Part of registration requires getting a user page for you, and one sentence at least telling us who the heck you are. That's within our universe what we do. The last time we had one of these, maybe I'm going to change to a new question, but the last time we had one of these panels, a lot of the questions were about the cost of the conference.
Yeah.
And this time, I think this is our most expensive conference so far. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes, highest registration rates, yes.
Has it been problematic for anyone in terms of getting funding support? Does it still seem ridiculously cheap, and why do we care about is $10 more even worth talking about? What's your sense for the price of this conference versus what you got out of it, and what else is available? Ultra cheap, you love it, keep doubling the price every time.
One point on the fact that
more expensive to attend.
Yes.
If it is not totally funded, well, it doubles the cost.
Yes.
We shall see it together with the location where it will take place. So this conference was advertised in Berlin so that you can see this beautiful city afterwards. But it has a little taste. Right? So when you say, well, I want to attend it, then I very quickly say, no, Friday, then it's over. Because I have to refund the cost in my organization.
Can you repeat this point maybe? Or did you suggest it's not, that it's bad to have, do you suggest it's bad to have it in a city that could be interesting? No, I mean, maybe I didn't quite understand. So you say it was not good in your opinion that touristic opportunities arise after the conference?
On the page, you can see, okay, it's clear that the conference must take place in a big city with an international airport. I think that is have to, because we have American and European competition. So it can't be in Uruguay, that's clear. But I think we shall avoid that it has a touristic flavor.
I disagree. This is common for all conferences.
Yeah,
If it's a good occasion, they state it. And I'm pretty sure that no employer will say you cannot go there because the place is too nice.
Yeah.
And then you need a new employer. I mean, they will really need to leave the place if they tell you this.
I think you might be a little bit an outlier on this one, but I'll tell you that last time we did do it on the weekend. I think this is the first one we've done during the week ever, or certainly in a long time.
During the week.
And it was a real point of discussion, and we were trying this. Is there anybody else, having now done one during the week, who would prefer to see a weekend or weekend in there?
I think during the week you get more professional.
Yeah, in the US, the weekend works because they all left on Saturday and Sunday.
Right.
Sorry?
In the US, they all left on Saturday and Sunday, because, you know, they only have X amount of days off. And
Yeah,
they the employer's time.
If you expect professional people, they'll be with the family during the weekend, and the weekends will get a hobby. It's like that.
New topic. Wrong question for this room, but we actually have an outside presence, right? There's tweets, there's an IRC chat room, and I know there are people who wanted to be here who are trying to follow from that outside world. Is that a priority? How many of you were actually putting out some sort of content to help other people? And what should we be doing in the sense of being virtual and live during the conference? You're all here, so
live video is very nice because then people can like post in questions or something. I know that's advanced.
I don't know any conferences I've been to that do live video. I think we're nowhere near the infrastructure, but even a live tweet stream is a pretty good thing for a lot of people.
We do have a live.
Hey, we're pretty good for that, yes, but
Yeah,
Wikimania does have live video, but it's expensive.
they're a little bigger conference than we are.
Yes, they are very much bigger, and they usually get it sponsored.
That reminds me. I have a good question. Sorry to take away from your Twitter question. Feel free to tweet your responses. Seriously. As far as co-locating with other conferences, are there any opinions about that? Like,
I would like to, we can come to that, but do we want to stop this Twitter thing completely now?
Yes.
Okay.
Tweet your responses, we'll look for them online.
Okay.
I don't agree. I believe that we need a press release published.
Oh, that's marketing. That's a question. That's something I want to discuss.
On any of the tech boards in Seattle, and they would have conferences from all over the world. When dropping two $50 press releases, one in Silicon Valley and one in Seattle, would have told the better part of the tech community in the U.S. that things are about to go on.
I would like to have somebody who knows about this as a publicity chair next year, or even next half year. I mean, because this is something we are, at least I can speak for myself when I say we are very familiar with how to publish a conference when you're in the academic world, but I have no idea where people from economy would normally look for such an announcement. So it would be great if we had some support on that, and I see that it's also a good thing for participants like Enterprise to do this kind of publicity.
Daniel and I should take this itself.
That would be nice.
I have somebody to do that.
And OSDA can cover the cost. Co-location, I think that's a good topic. Yeah. Location and co-location.
Location and co-location, but yeah, there's always semantic web conferences, and there's always Wikimania and wiki-related conferences, and who knows what else, tech-related conferences. I don't know if there are any, if anybody has any thoughts about that.
BOSC, or the OSCon.
Oh yeah, and open source.
I
Right.
think if you evolve it onto another conference, it starts to be a long string of days, and it's hard to be so long away from like companies and organizations. So I actually believe that it's not a good idea because it's too big.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it makes sense, especially if we go to 4 days, as
Well, the
as we
hackathon
discussed.
would be an optional thing for people with this end.
But if you've got 3 days of this and 4 days of that, it's like really long.
I imagine 1 tutorial, 2 conference, 1 hackathon.
Oh, that's okay, but I was thinking like if you bold it up to like other
Right,
conferences.
and I agree. At that point, co-location just becomes big.
Plus means that we're running concurrently, right? Not just one after another.
You don't usually overlap with them.
If you
want
overlap, then there's no point in doing it.
Oh, you mean one after another?
Right.
If you do together,
Oh.
you're only fighting for the same audience.
That's weird, because I was thinking co-location is running
Yeah, mine's
concurrently.
something really close to the semantic publishing interest, and hopefully some of the crowd goes between.
Okay.
Yeah.
But a satellite conference in that sense. You piggyback on somebody else.
Right, then they can go to your conference, and if you feel like this conference, some topic is not interesting enough, you can go to other conference, but then it increases the organic,
You can't have 2 at the same time on the same topic. You need to be not overlapping.
Yes.
I think so.
Cool.
Or can we find somebody who's done one and schedule it right after theirs, just we pull their people in maybe, and we don't have to deal with it?
That's hard,
It's the Parasite conference.
I think what we could do is probably we can actually do some commercial in some related tech conferences, right?
That's what
I
you
think we
do.
do some of that now.
Next month, is there maybe 2 months later, the STEM-Tech Berlin? I think
Oh,
in
is it?
December, right?
I think it would probably be a good idea for the foundation. I think it's a foundation, isn't it? For the group at least, the body, to try and push talks on those conferences to make people aware that it's available. But that's like being the messenger, and then that's a totally different topic. But that probably we could do and try to, because now there is an organization, there's a body. And I probably could try and get some space on those conferences to get people to be aware of it.
In general, the problem with that is that somebody has to travel to the conference to give the talk. I don't think it's difficult for us to get accepted with a talk about our topics at some OSS conference, for example. Sometimes we're invited even. It's not so difficult in general.
So it's a money issue.
It's a time issue because somebody has to travel internationally usually to go to some OSS conference. It takes you 2 days, 3 days maybe.
I translated the money because if you get paid,
No.
a lot of people have time.
No, for me it's not money.
For
It's
you,
time.
I can see
It's
it.
really time.
Time is money.
So yeah, but that's different. I can see that for you that's different.
But if there are people who would like to attend a conference and seek support for this, we can talk about how we could do that. So we are very happy about any
your last
outreach.
slide. See me at this place here.
Probably we could find an infrastructure that by funding a little bit, and then people could go there. Probably for enterprise, it's a clear thing because for the people that are looking to commercial things, it's useful to spread the word.
Let me offer a small one before I jump to Sam.
Sorry?
Let me just throw in one possibility, then I'll toss it to Sam.
I was asking, I wanted to ask if we were supposed to talk some minute about like documentation and how to make it easy for new contributors. Are we supposed to discuss that now? Or
We
not?
actually came, let me stay on the conference organization for a little longer. I would encourage the association to give a €20 discount or something nominal. If you can just show us that you've used your slides or some of your material to present at any other conference and plug our conference at one of your slides. You know, I'll be talking more about this in 6 weeks over in such and such.
I'm willing to just give a talk about semantic minority at the next FOSDAN. I think that's a great place to do it. But one of the things I always think when I go to such a conference is damn, I don't have swag to spam people with. So I think it would be great if we had like stickers or t-shirts that we can then sell them. It doesn't even cost anything, so.
They do cost something.
Yeah, but if we sell the t-shirts,
That's all, yeah. The t-shirts cost something, and we would be happy about anybody who wants to sponsor such an activity. I could imagine having another logo than just Media Wiki on them. We can also pre-finance them and try to sell them, but that's the risk, and you have to pay that first.
Yeah, and you have administration, you have stock.
Yeah.
it's not that difficult.
It's not easy. Stickers.
Stickers are safe.
That's safe.
We can do
T-shirts is like gold, you really have to bring them there. And
Yeah, we talked about stickers in last year as well, last one, but nobody actually volunteered or.
Do we have a logo that we would all recognize?
Adds the.
we now have this logo.
Okay.
After the
I guess I
castle-
should know that probably.
After the cultural event, I think it was in the cultural event, it was decided to have a more commercial acceptable logo, which is this one.
Yeah. Okay, now we will work.
Sorry?
Yeah, Sam had a documentation question. Is there anything else, maybe conference organizational, before we switch gears?
Yeah, I mean, okay, if we want to keep it together, of course, there's always the open question of future venues, future hosts. Who would like to have some people visiting their space and be local organizer? I'm sure the current local organizers can confirm that this is the most rewarding experience. Your entire life. And I mean, the gratefulness of the community is yours, and maybe also a few more contacts related to your own work or business. We are open to that. We also have quite good and improving organizational support to help you with that. And so if there are any ideas who wants to organize some of these events next time in Europe or another time in the US, please speak up or make suggestions.
Looking at the Python conferences or some of the sci-fi, they have one organizer do it 2 years in a row. And the idea is that you've got one to learn how to do it and one, and you're always sort of mentoring the next group at the same time. And I think that I'm not going to be the guy organizing, I'll just tell you that right now. But it does seem like a helpful model. And so if Berlin wants to go twice, we certainly wouldn't stop.
Actually,
That's a great idea.
If you guys want to come back, let us know. So.
Amsterdam, we had this feeling also, like we've now been through it, now the next time we go into the copy machine and we do it again.
Right. The second one, I suspect, is quite a bit easier than the first. Yeah. And you can have that year to mentor somebody else on the process and keep it going. So.
So next year Berlin again.
Well, anyway, it would be nice to decide it early on, because the earlier you decide it, the easier it is for people to travel. And I think we were quite late this year. It would be nice to have it earlier fixed, and also to make it easier for the local organizers to have things settled early on. Are there any other opinions on where we should or should not have it? Because now I heard it's okay to have it in the same place all the time.
Twice. Not all the time.
Well, twice. Well, even Amsterdam and Berlin are not too far from each other. Is somebody saying, oh no, it has to be in Spain for a change because we're always here in Central Europe or something like that?
I think there's actually two ways of thinking about it. You rather think about spreading the fire, and then you want to go to places where there are not many people. Or you say we come to where most of the people are, and then it's very logical to come back to Germany. So this is really...
Comparing the two, European Scientific Python does the two-year pattern. ISMB does explicitly 1 year in a well-connected central city. Next year will be somewhere kind of out there. And they alternate back and forth between developing a bigger user base and having a bigger audience.
Committing to the...
Neither one is the right solution, but I think they're two extremes, and both of them do it pretty well in their own way.
Do we know where our users are?
We have server logs, right? Is that the best way to do this? I mean, we have server traffic logs on Semantic Media Wiki. Breaking down by country, city, state would be a pretty good piece of data.
Look at Google at what places Semantic Media Wiki is most searched for. Then you get into the Bundesland browser where it is.
Germany, number one.
Sorry?
Germany is number one.
Okay, I mean, fine. I think we can't solve that now. Just for your awareness, if you have proposals, please bring them to us, even if it's not yourself, but some other interesting suggestion we could follow. I don't think we can quite fix it in this session. We are already running a bit late, I think.
For one thing, is it a good idea to at least try and look whether the people want to organize it here again, because then we can commit very fast to the next conference. So if we decide together, or the committee decides that it's a good idea to 2 years in a row in a place, and you still like to do it, then we are already on our way for the next conference.
And I wouldn't press this decision now. It's,
Yeah,
I think we can keep it in mind, but that's
Don't put you on the spot, but we wouldn't complain.
yeah, no, I really, let's just keep it for another week or two to make
And that's a good excuse to sort of close the conference
Yes.
at an organization level. Is there anything else before we shift to Sam's question over documentation, I believe?
Yeah, so something like getting in more developers. So I basically want to maybe just open the question. Maybe one thing I could add that me and Jeroen talked yesterday about. Seems like in order to get in more developers, maybe it needs a little bit more of a mentality of helping out as much as you can when you can in the mailing list and so on. Like, or at least actively committing to that and kind of
I'm constantly amazed at how responsive the IRC channel actually is and puts up with some really tedious questions. I think if you're the guy to volunteer and say, I'm going to go help the noobs, God bless you for it, but we can't really volunteer anybody else for that job.
No, I'm just saying that maybe it's good to just encourage this mentality for everybody. I mean,
I can only support more of it, absolutely. I would like to give a nice little shout out to whoever reorganized the semantic forms and MediaWiki documentation pages. I came back one day and they just looked a lot better than they used to. That's the kind of stuff that I think helps. But we could always do more of it, and we always should do more of it.
How do you see that? How would you promote that?
Well, let me ask you: Have you felt an urge to rearrange stuff? You feel like it could be arranged better, but you just are you don't want to cause problems and that sort of thing. You don't.
I have
get
felt that
involved
there
where
is.
you don't think.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. I mean, yeah.
And also, I would make quickly one suggestion to Markus. I think something that is lacking is some kind of very simple overview of architecture stuff. So don't feel hindered that you don't get in all the details. Just some simple maps, conceptual maps or something.
If it was that simple, I would have drawn it. But yeah, it's a mess. I mean.
Yeah, but I mean, it doesn't need to be so exact. Some simple maps already would help a lot.
Within PHP, is there anything for auto-documenting the call stack and other things of that sort?
Yeah, but I mean, I think we have something like that.
We have an API documentation, Doxygen, yeah, and it's updated nightly, so that's fine.
It's only that that's kind of bottom-up approach.
The big picture thing.
Yeah, I request something.
We will think about it. Yeah. Yeah.
If you're really hardcore, just read the code base.
I know.
I think he does.
Yeah.
I've tried it. Yeah, well.
Okay.
Well, it's like you said yesterday. Like if you look for yesterday it came up that if you're looking for a technology, it's a kind of qualifier that there is a book on it.
Yeah. Well, Vulcan last time was talking about sponsoring an O'Reilly book, not doing it as sponsoring, but Vulcan was talking about an O'Reilly book.
Yeah.
And I agree that having an O'Reilly book is when you have made it as a code base.
And that will also be the place to put the general architecture and kind of thing like that. So if we could commit to working on that, that would be great. And you see that like really a lot of those books are written by a lot of people who all write one chapter.
For that book to stop, though, development has to stop or at least steady out for 18 months.
Yes.
Because if that work becomes invalidated, they'll be very unhappy.
I find that MediaWiki book, and really, is still of value, but it's totally outdated. It's still of value.
We're into electronic group documentation, and the idea of putting it on dead trees seems a little weird, actually.
Okay, but O'Reilly is big in electronic publishing. Last year, I think I only bought them electronically, and then I still print them sometimes on dead trees myself.
Even if you only do a Kindle one or something.
Okay.
don't have to do it on Kindle, they have all those e-readers and things that they put it on, but, you know.
I mean, if people are concretely interested in pushing such an issue and think it's realistic, then maybe we should discuss it in a smaller forum again. Because obviously you need people committed to writing a book. And I can tell from experience that this takes a lot of time, usually a year longer than you expected it to take, at least. And, well, you have to balance it with the rest of your life.
Writing the wiki books.
Yeah,
That's just as much work, but it's
I think it actually has to draw an audience that's not just us reading it. That's
No, but I think we can't solve that.
I think the purpose of doing this old-fashioned way, getting a paper book, is to, for this old-fashioned board manager to approve, hey, this is a good technology, even have the book,
Yeah, I think the book goes to that's
okay.
But I can really, they publish it in all the formats, and the paper one is just one of it. So it's a book with an ISBN number and ends it anywhere. And that's
I think that the volume of content for a book is just excessive. I think that as we get the tutorials really together, and we've done them a few times, making that tutorial available, YouTube video, question and answer format, anything where you can get started without ever coming to one of these would be helpful.
awesome.
But producing the content itself is the bottleneck.
Videos are great, I think.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
great.
everything else, how many of you have watched any of the videos from previous conferences online? They really are all up there.
Raise your hand.
I think I've watched them.
Okay. So we're getting some value out of that. That's good to see.
Okay. Okay, so are there any other issues we should discuss before we go towards dinner?
So what about the next venue?
Well,
the one in the US.
There's one in the US, exactly. So
oh yeah, that maybe all right. Can you say something about that?
Hawaii.
Miami.
No, actually, I think we need to be on the West Coast, not the East Coast.
Yeah, West Coast.
Yeah, actually,
yeah.
Mark pointed out Vancouver may be a good place.
Yeah,
It's not to pull people off the West Coast, and it's actually a pretty nice city.
Yeah, West Coast makes sense.
Everybody on the West Coast knows about Vancouver. It's a very nice city. Everybody up to it. So.
We do have a volunteer, which is PNL Pacific Northwest National Lab, but they're located somewhere quite, small. And so it's not really attractive.
That is a radiated hellhole.
Yeah, but for that, San Diego is another possible choice.
Vancouver and San Diego should be our two choices, totally. That'd be great. Yeah.
All right.
For your further information, PNL is located on the U.S.'s largest Superfund site. Those are the Superfunds mean we're cleaning up radiation from something.
Okay, I think with that we have reached the end of the panel. No, Benedict still has a suggestion?
Yeah.
Please.
Now I've got a question. So what will change that we now have a foundation? So will you maybe provide scholarships for the venues, or I don't know. I open up the question. What shall we do more professionally?
We won't go broke each time.
We won't go. It reduces the financial risk because we have a buffer, and we can fairly buffer it and make sure it's not profit but surplus. And we can make sure that any money that remains from one venue can be used for future activities around this. Because at the moment, as it is, the financial risk is with the local organizer, which is not a pretty. I mean, usually it works out good because we have some experience. But I mean, it's certainly nicer to have a backup organization that is able to support in a more continuous way such a thing. Even if there should be an ash cloud next year for some conference, and we have a reduced attendance rate. And the other thing you asked about scholarships, we would look into that, but it's not that we have any major funds to arbitrarily do that at the moment, but who knows, maybe we can come to that.
Yeah, I just remember once, I think someone asked any ideas of the organization of the conference. I know there's a conference that actually started really early in the morning, then paused, adjourned around noon, then started late, like 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and then go to the evening. So people can have actually 4 hours in the middle, 4 or 5 hours in the middle of the day, the city or whatever. That's kind of interesting. So think about that.
I'm not so sure. Okay. We will do a post-meeting survey, which we will send around on the mailing list. So any such ideas which come up after you leave or which you couldn't articulate now, just enter them in the survey, and we will take note and maybe make our decisions for the next time or take it. Okay. So
also, I want to say hi because I will not go to the dinner, and maybe there is someone else.
Can I conclude? So if we are done with the panel, I am very happy actually about the way that this meeting has turned out. Again, I'm actually amazed, like every time I'm here, to see how much happens within a year. Some developments that have, last year I was surprised to see many people being interested in RDF stores. This year, every second talk is about how RDF stores are bound, used, populated, browsed, whatever, and how all this web of data thing is coming together in our community as well. I think there's a lot of things developing here, faster than the speed of light, as was suggested for the occasion of the day in some cases, and I think it's great to see this movement and not becoming static at all, even after these many venues we have had so far in the community. So with this, I would like to conclude this meeting. I would like to thank very much the local organizers which we had. We did a great job. We had great food, we had great places, and we had a lot of people around. Christian, Anja, of course, but also Janine, Uli, and Andrea, and of course, not the least, Pizza, whose group who gave the support and of this whole group for doing this in fact. And so we are very happy that this worked out so well, and it's really a lot of work, and we appreciate it. Thank you. Also, not here, I would like to mention that Lydia Pincher, who is our community support person, also supported by Enterprise, has helped a lot in organizing it beforehand, and in this sense, also Enterprise has contributed to that, and this I think is also something I would like to thank you for.